Welcome, everybody, to podcast number 267. Do you know the best way to make your numbers? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome. I hope everybody's doing well today. I really apologize for not publishing the podcast this morning as promised. It's 5:33 p.m. here, Arizona time. So on the East Coast, it's 8:33. So I've really tanked the timing on this. And I've got a bunch of wimpy excuses for you if you want them. But I just failed to plan. Last night I got in at midnight and a half, so 12:30 a.m., and they got up this morning at 4:30 to do the Contact Norway call with a number of their professionals out there. And so I was just dead tired. So I'm doing it now. And there's a couple of things here. So I'm on a new headset because I'm going to be at the whiteboard talking about this concept because I want to visualize it. So I hope that works for you. And I'm going to get right into it tonight. And I hope you forgive me. I haven't ever missed publishing a podcast. I've had them late in the morning, but I've never missed them. So please forgive me for that. So I just want to say right now, I'm excited about an upcoming Superintendent boot camp. So we've confirmed and locked down the dates. It's the 17th, 18th, and 19th in Phoenix, Arizona. And I already have 16 participants. If you are interested in attending that, please let me know. We want to get you signed up so you can do the prerequisite work. So final call for anybody going to the Superintendent boot camp on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of May. I'm excited about that. It's going to be the best one that we've ever done. So let me talk about some feedback here. Here's what I received from one of our fans. Keep moving. You are positively impacting the lives of thousands of craft workers. You continue to inspire me each day. And it says, I've been listening to your podcast. Keep it up. Big inspiration. So I really appreciate these compliments, this feedback. It's great stuff. So tonight I'm going to start talking to you more and more about flow. So let's get right into it. I'm up here at my whiteboard. Oh, the other thing is, as summer occurs, you might hear my air conditioner just a little bit more in the background. So I'm going to try that out today and see if the sound can be picked up in the background too badly. And if it does, I'll make some adjustments on the podcast. But here we go. When we talk about flow in construction, we all know about the normal things that we deal with on a constant basis. We know that work should flow. We know that, the interruptions hurt us. But I think we only understand that at a superficial level. Let me talk about this. I will talk more and more about this next week. In fact, I think next week, most of what I'm going to be talking about is based around flow. So there are studies that show that the bottom 25% of workers are more productive than the average bid units, meaning when they're actually working, they are actually more productive than what we estimate on projects. The top 25% of workers are 4 times as productive as the bottom 25%. So what's our problem in construction? Why is our efficiency, our production, our productivity on a constant decline? Why do we have this problem? We need to figure this out together as a team. Well, I'm going to ask you this question. You're like, what do you tell your concrete crews or your framing crews or whoever when you send them out on the job? You send them on a job and you say, hey, make production. Make your production units. What does that trigger in a person's mind that they have to go do in order to make production? Well, when they get on the project site and when they start work with their crew, they're automatically in the game. So mentally they're thinking, all right, I'm in the game. I'm starting work. When do their minds go out of the game? As soon as they hit a roadblock, as soon as the plan changes, as soon as somebody tells them to stop, as soon as something goes wrong, I, as a foreman, if I'm pretending to be in the foreman role, I'm out of the game. Like, as I'm in the game when I start my work with my crew, and I'm out of the game when I stop. I'm mentally focused on winning the game while I'm playing the game. Like, even when we're playing football and soccer and things like that, when the whistle blows, we're ready to go. Like, when time starts, we go. But then when we're in halftime, when we're in break, when somebody's called a timeout, like, we're out of the game. We're like, pause for a minute. But in construction, this is the exact opposite of what we should be doing. So on my whiteboard here, I'm drawing a circle, and this little circle represents when a crew is actually in their work, in their flow. And then I'm going to draw a little line over to a second circle, and this is, when they transfer to another bit of work. Or let me draw another line away from that circle to another circle. That's the transfer from one crew to another, one portion of work to another. It's not the circles of productive work that crews are doing where we need to pay attention. It's the transfers in between them. And so we are focusing in construction on the wrong things. We are focusing on the wrong things. Even by virtue of telling people, get good units, focus on your production, their minds are focused on the circles. Their minds are focused on when they're in the game. And we're not losing there. Meaning, if you stopped tracking your production when the crew was actually in a flow, and you never tracked it again, you'd still probably make money. So what should we be focused on? We should be focused on the transitions. Okay? That's where we lose our money. That is the big secret in construction. So let me ask you a couple of questions. In your company, are you tracking your production and coding any interruptions or start times or things like that to other codes? Or and only focusing on when you're in the game? Or are you focusing on everything plus the transitions? Okay? Because what we need to be doing is focused on the transitions. We don't win the game in construction when we're actually playing on the field. We win the game in the timeouts, in the between games, in the transitions. Okay? And so that's how we really get flow. And I want to bring your mind to this. Okay, if I asked you, where do we lose all of our money? You would say, okay, unskilled workers. Okay, let's write that down. Okay, unskilled workers. We lose it from RFIs, interruptions, roadblocks, missing materials, changes in sequence, areas not made ready, right? All of these would be correct except for one. We've already shown that the unskilled workers, that the bottom 25% is still going to beat your production rates. Okay, but you just have to make sure that environment is ready for them so that they can actually work in a flow. Again, it's all of the in-betweens. And so when you do a financial review, when you do a project review, when you do a scope review, when you go look and do a pre-construction meeting for something, are you focused on when they're doing the work, or are you focused on the in-betweens? Because in-betweens is where we're losing our money. I've heard companies say, appropriately so, I want to take my gross margin from 9% to 20%. I've heard companies say, I want to cut through proper practices in lean 30 to 40% of our project durations and costs from our projects so we can be the most competitive. I've heard people say, we as a self-perform unit, we want to be super profitable, and we want to make, $6 million net fee this year off of self-perform. Whatever these financial targets are, you will not make that additional money by focusing on the circles. By focusing on the production of the crew when they're working. You will not make that money that way, and you will not make that money by complaining about unskilled trades. You will make the 9 to 20%. You will cut the 30-40% off of the projects. You will make that 6%, or not 6%, $6 million of net fee, net profit by focusing on the transitions and the flow between when we're actually doing the work. So let's go ahead. I've probably made a good point there. Let's talk about how do we do that. Jason, okay, great. It's the transitions. What are we going to do now? All right. So when we talk about flow, how can we achieve flow? Well, there's a couple of things, and let me just go ahead and talk about it. We can plan with flow. So here's the question for everybody. When you are looking at your projects, do you start out with a Takt plan? And you've heard me talk about it before. Or do you start out with CPM? Even if you think CPM works, it's not a flow design tool. Okay. You need to make sure that not only do you have flow within a sequence, but do all of the sequences, when stacked on top of each other, flow the work between them in the most seamless possible fashion. I told you before, if I do a summary for a CPM schedule and I filter out a crew or a scope of work, 1 week they do work, the next week they do it. And then I'm looking at this area by area, and then it goes forward and down and then backwards and then forward, down, backwards, forward, backwards. And then, so if I go week by week, I needed 4 people on a crew, and then next week, 8 people on a crew, and then I need 24 people on the crew, and then I need 8, and then I need 4, and then I need 0, then I need 4, then I need 24. Like the influx of manpower that I need for a chaotic system like CPM is ridiculous. Now, here's what happens. We lose a ton of money from context switching. I've talked to you about that before. We lose a ton of money when team sizes and crew sizes get larger. We lose a ton of money when we change leadership. We lose a ton of money when we bring new people onto the crew. Okay, so if I've just showed you right now that if we schedule a CPM without flow, then, and it goes from 4 to 8 to 24, back to 8, down to 4, 0, 4, 24. When we have this influx, and when our crew sizes change, and when we have to hire 16 people and fire 8 of them because we're just trying to keep our crews consistent, you know what I'm talking about, and you know why we're losing money. You know that we're losing money. So, can we? And the other thing, there's a buzzword in the industry about pull planning. Pull planning is great. I love it. But you will not create flow on a project with a pull plan unless you stack those pull plans on top of each other at the right stagger, at the right rhythm, and see how the crews flow within the work. And that's called Takt planning. Okay, what's the other thing that we can do? We can limit work in progress. And so my example with this for work in progress is if you're grading a 320-acre site, do it in phases. Don't do it all together. If you're installing a mile-long water main, do it in phases. Don't grade the whole thing all together. When you're doing work out on the construction site, get people focused in a flow and to finish as they go. Don't put them into multiple areas. Here's why limiting work in progress, and I will have a podcast about this next week because we're going to do a flow series. Why is limiting work in progress so key? It's because overproduction is the mother of all wastes. And I'm going to say if overproduction is the mother, then excess material inventory is the father. Okay? And then what happens when you have excess inventory? You have to transport it, which is a waste. And when you have to transport it, that's extra motion. When you have to move materials and manpower, there are defects, not just from moving it, but also from the fact that you're focused on doing the wrong things. When there's defects, there's overprocessing. When there's overprocessing in construction, that is all a waste because there's waiting. And all of that is a waste because we could have planned with the team and used the genius of the team to get ahead of this if we had just planned the project with flow and limited the work in progress. Okay, so the more things you're doing, the more areas you're in, the more work happening at the same time, the slower you are going on a project site. What are some of the other things that you can do? Okay, you can fanatically prevent roadblocks. Okay, prevent roadblocks. Okay, you do that by creating stable environments and bringing roadblocks to the surface and having your team focus on that as your number one priority. Not PPC, not lagging indicators of how I did. Your first battle has to be with the removal of roadblocks, Okay, so once you've created flow on a project using Takt planning, you have the principles of limiting work in progress, okay? And then you're preventing roadblocks. That is going to make work ready and make you a ton of money. What is the fourth thing you can do? You can finish as you go and be disciplined about that, okay? Finish as you go. Here's the point. People are always right now saying there's not enough manpower out there, not enough skilled workforce. You shouldn't have to have more people to get what you need to get done, unless you're just getting more work and you're growing as a company. I've told you before, and this is shown in beautiful fashion with the game Parade of Trades. As if you increase manpower, increase material inventory, your profits go down and your ability to finish on time goes down. If you get into a flow and reduce manpower and you actually reduce material inventory, your profits go up and your chances of finishing on time go up. So when you're like, hey, I need more people to get this done, you can get more people and take a whole lot longer and spend a whole lot more money. Or what you can do is create a flow and actually not need those additional people. This is the secret to construction. You know, if you compare a project that entered a flow versus one that didn't, a project that entered a flow would finish in 20 weeks with 248, a manpower count of 248, with inventory levels of 83 and maximum inventory levels of 2 on a project site at any given week. And now you have a project that doesn't have a flow. They'll finish in anywhere from 24 to 36 weeks with 380 people on site, with inventory levels of like 245 and with a maximum inventory level of 9 in any given week. Now, these are all metrics, but when you compare even just basic, not any of the other costs, but just basic burden labor rates, when you compare one project to another, the difference is $1.6 million. And the point is, why would I even want to spend that $1.6 million? I didn't even finish earlier. The key is flow. So when that pipe crew or when that drywall crew or when that duct crew out there on the project site is installing, you don't need to track whether they're doing okay. You need to track the in-betweens. Here's what I'm talking about. Did you change sequence? Were the areas ready? Did you have to move this pile of materials from here to there? Did you have to regrade those pads because somebody trashed them? Did you have to go out of sequence and do that work twice? Do you have a lot of rework? Because of a lack of planning, did one roadblock hold up a number of areas on the project and make other people wait? Do you have an influx of manpower from day to day? All of these things are the things that we should really be worried about, because that's what makes us lose money. So you want to gain 11% on your fee, you want to gain 11%, or you want to gain 40% back on your schedule and your cost, you will stop focusing on the production of the crew when they're in flow, meaning when they're actually doing the work. You will focus on their transitions. Can they go from area to area to area, or are the areas made ready? And is there materials, manpower, information, layout, and everything they need to do their work that day with roadblocks removed? So my challenge today in this little podcast as we go into next week is plan with flow, limit work in progress, prevent roadblocks by fanatically identifying and removing them, and finish as you go. And stop worrying about when the crew is actually installing. Worry about when they stop installing and when they transition to the other area, transition to the other crew, transition to the other project, and make sure that we can level out manpower counts and material inventory. And that is how you make money. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.